Welcome to CMC. I am so happy that you all have taken the time to join us this morning. The start of the school year is always an exciting time for us here at CMC. We get to welcome new students and it's just fun. What we're going to cover today is the academics at CMC, and we're going to go over GE requirements, registering for classes, and academic advising and support. My name is Deborah Flynn, and I'm the registrar, and I'm joined today by Lila Garlington, who's the associate registrar of advising and degree audits. I'm also joined by Ellen Ketels, who's our associate dean of faculty and also an associate professor here of literature. And Maritza Barraza is also joining us today. She's the Associate Registrar for Records and Registration. We all are here to provide you with all the information and hopefully answer all your questions that you will have about starting your journey here at CMC. I think we can, yeah. So fast forward. I know we're all eager to figure out like what courses, how do we do all of this? What's the next steps for us? So we're going to hopefully be able to provide you with a blueprint of what the next steps are and how you can actually begin your journey with us. So the million-dollar question that everyone who has reached this point with us at CMC would like to have answered is, what do I need to graduate from CMC? So basically, what our requirements are is all students need 32 course units for the Bachelor of Arts degree. We anticipate that most students are going to take 4 units per semester over 8 semesters here. That's the average course load for all of our students here at CMC. You also need the 32 course units are broken up into general education requirements, requirements for your major, which most students declare by the end of their sophomore year. Students can declare either a single, a double, or a dual major, and you can also select to pursue a sequence here at CMC. Students are required to receive a minimum C average in their cumulative GPA, their major GPA, and their senior year. And I know it sounds like all of that just to get out of here. Yes, that's what's required, but it's not as hard as it actually sounds. So we're here to help you navigate through it, and we'll provide you with additional information of what all of that looks like. And with that, I will pass it on to Lila.
Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Lila Garlington. I oversee the academic advising and degree audits. So I'll start off by talking about the general education requirements. So students are required to take their general education requirements within the first 3 to 4 semesters while they're here. The general education requirements provide students with the foundation of a liberal arts education. In the Claremont colleges, particularly CMC, it's a liberal arts college, and so students come here to really seek that liberal arts education. So within the first 3 to 4 semesters, students get those foundational courses that prepare them for their major requirements. So one of the major requirements that GE requirements that students complete is the foreign language requirement. So students typically come in and they place into a foreign language by taking the placement exam. So students can take Spanish, Russian, French, Italian. Students have been provided that information through the new student orientation portal. Once we get the placement exam results, we'll assist students with placing them into their foreign language. Some students may have already been registered for a foreign language course, and then they can adjust their schedule on August 22nd. So some of the languages that are offered are Arabic, Chinese, French, German, Greek, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Latin, Portuguese, Russian, and Spanish. And if anyone has any questions about that, they can always feel free to reach out to us and we can provide them with information some additional information on that. Students can also complete the foreign language requirement by also completing the AP test scores. If you score a 3 or 4 on the AP test scores, you can waive out of the foreign language requirement and also get a 1 credit for that. One of the other major GE requirements that students complete is the computers or the lab science. So any students coming in for the class of 2029 are required to take Sci 10, which is Codes of Life. It's an integrative sciences course. 3+2 majors have already been pre-placed and locked into these courses, and any integrative science majors have already been locked into the Science 10 course. All students, regardless of major, have to complete Science 10 by the end of their sophomore year. So it's very crucial that students register for this class and complete that class by the end of their second year here at CMC. Another major requirement is the math and computer science GE. So the math requirement, students get placed into math. So students typically place into either Calculus 1, Calculus 2, or Calculus 3, depending on their comfort level. Students can also complete the computer science, a computer science course to fulfill the math computer science GE requirement. And students, for the math requirement, students can take any math course, any CMC math course to fulfill that requirement. So typically we don't know which math course is the correct math course for students for their comfort level. So there's a helpful math placement chart on the new student academic resources page. And we'll also provide links to this page at the end of the presentation. So another GE requirement that students are required to take is the first year writing seminar and the first year humanities seminar. Students typically take one of these courses each semester of their first year. So if a student is registered for first year writing seminar in their first semester of their first year, they typically take the first year humanities seminar in their second semester of their first year. Students should be, all first year students should be registered for one of these courses currently right now. So if you log into your portal, you should see that you're either registered for an FWS or an FHS course. So students typically take one of these courses each semester of their first years, and students have already been pre-placed. If you want to readjust these courses, you have the opportunity to readjust these courses on August 22nd. Currently, you're locked into these courses until August 22nd. And then on that date, you can log in and readjust your courses, but you are required to take one of these courses each semester of your first year. Okay. So moving on to the humanities requirement. So depending on your major, students, all students are required to take 2 humanities requirements. So that's the foreign literature, the philosophy, or the religious studies. So students typically take, I notice students typically take literature or philosophy. So if you are a literature major, you can take a literature course, but you're also required to take either a foreign literature, philosophy, and a religious study on top of that literature requirement. So if the course falls into your major, you're required to take 2 classes outside of that major. So if you're a philosophy major and you take a philosophy course, you then have to take either an additional literature GE and a religious studies GE to make sure that you're getting 3 courses within the humanities major, but 2 are outside of the major. So if you have any questions about that, we're here to clarify as well. And then you've already been pre-placed into at least one of these courses. And on August 22nd, you can have the ability to readjust these courses along with the FHS and FWS requirement. And then same thing goes for the social sciences. You have to take 3 social science courses outside of the major. A lot of students that attend CMC are econ majors. So typically they take Econ 50, which is required for the major. And then they also have to take government, history, and psychology to get the 3 outside the major. So if you're an econ major, you've already been locked into the econ course unless you've placed out for some reason. If you've gotten an AP test score and you placed out of econ 50, we may have placed you in another course. But if you were coming in as an econ major, we already registered you and locked you into econ 50. Same thing if you're a government major or international relations major, we locked you into the government 20 major, and then we placed you into either an FHS, an FWS, or say a humanities course. And so if you are a social science major, if your major is econ, government, history, or psychology, you're required to take all 4 of these social science courses in order to ensure that you're taking 3 outside the major. And then again, you have until August 22nd, you have the ability to adjust your schedule on that day. Another crucial GE requirement is the PE requirement. So students are required to take either 3 PE activities, 2 seasons of a sport, or 3 semesters of ROTC physical education courses. We encourage students not to wait to complete this requirement. And we encourage students to complete this requirement at least by the end of their junior year. And we wanted to encourage, let students know that they don't have to be super athletic. You don't have to be a quarterback to complete this requirement. We have classes like yoga, swimming, Pilates, walking with the dean. So there's a lot of courses that are not as intensive. So we definitely want to encourage students to complete this requirement fairly early on in their education here at CMC and not wait until their senior year. And so a typical first semester schedule typically looks similar to what you see here. Students are either locked into an FHS or an FWS. We encourage students to complete a math GE, a language GE, or a humanities. And then we also encourage students to take kind of like a prerequisite requirement, such as the Econ 50, Government 20, or a prerequisite course within the GE requirement that's going to help them progress in their major. And then also we want to add the physical education requirement to that first semester schedule as well. Also keep in mind the PE requirement does not provide students with a credit. It's a 0 credit course. So students typically enroll in 4 credits and then they tack on that PE requirement as well. So for additional information, students can also access a new student orientation portal. And I'll also be reaching out to students once the semester starts to schedule first year advising as well to provide students with a degree audit checklist, and that'll outline your major and GE requirements.
Thank you so much, Lila. That's great. I know it's a lot of information. We'll be sharing links. All of the information we're providing in the webinar is also available on our website, and there's also a tremendous amount of information on the new student orientation portal. And as I look at this first semester schedule, I think a lot of folks on the webinar might be asking, well, how do I make good choices about which courses to add next week? On the new student orientation portal, we have information sheets that were made by department chairs that are designed to help you navigate some of those choices and think about different pathways within majors and departments. And many of those pages have lots of advice about things you ought to be thinking about taking during your first semester. So do take a look at those. Let me move us along here. So this is just a bit of an overview, and Lila was kind of reinforcing this while she was talking, but July pre-placement is what's happened so far. So you all filled out your survey. Thank you for doing that. You did such a great job filling those out. You've all been pre-placed in at least 2 of your fall courses. So as we've already mentioned, that means you're probably in an FHS or an FWS. You may also be in a social sciences GE, or maybe you're in a humanities GE, again, depending on some of the choices some of the preferences you expressed in your survey. And then if you're an integrated sciences or 3-2 major, probably also Sci 10. So again, these courses are locked for now, but August 22nd, you can start to make changes to that. So here's what's next. And the next few slides, and then eventually when I turn it over to my colleague Maritza, we're going to be walking you through some of the logistics of registration. And so the approach we've taken is sort of like talk you through it a couple of different times in different ways to help you navigate that. But again, all of this information is also available on other sites, and you're welcome to email us anytime. So August 7th, you are going to be registering online for your remaining 1 or 2 courses based on your registration time. And we'll show you how to find that time in just a moment. Those times are assigned according to random system generated priority groups. And these rotate every semester. So you may have fallen into priority group 1, 2, 3, or 4. And I wanted to give you a sense of how that rotation is going to look like. That priority group follows you for the rest of your time at CMC. So if you got a registration time this time around that you didn't love, don't worry, you're not going to always have that one. We'll say more about August 7th in a moment. August 22nd, registration continues for all of the incoming students in the consortium, and you'll be able to make changes to your schedule, including those pre-placed courses that you now see on the portal. And then Monday, August 25th, that's when classes begin and registration reopens for everybody, like sophomores, juniors, seniors throughout the consortium. And I want to just put it out there now that it's really normal for people to make changes to their schedule during the first week or 2. So that's just a reality. A lot of people will try out courses and then say, nope, this is not what I wanted, or I think I'm going to do something else. So if you find yourself making a change during that first week, you're not alone. It's totally normal to have that experience. And then Monday, September 8th, is the last day to add a new course. So while we encourage you to consider things and really think about whether or not you want to do this course or another course, September 8th, we're going to say, we want you to have a fixed schedule so that you can really dig into the semester. Okay, I'm going to turn it over now to Maritza, and she's going to run through a few slides that have information about the portal. And we've got screenshots, which are also available through our registration tutorial. And we've got a link to that. You've probably seen that in your email and on the orientation portal. We're going to show you a few static slides, and then Maritza is going to, we're going to stop sharing my screen, and then she's going to take you into a live demo portal so you can actually see it happening in real time. Okay, Maritza, over to you.
Okay, hello everybody and welcome. So this will be a brief overview of the portal just so you all get an idea of what it actually looks like when students are registering. So this first page is the landing page when students first, when students first log in, the landing page is under the student tab. And then this page is once the student clicks on course schedule, and then you can find information on here who the advisor is, registration time, if there's advisor clearance or any holds. Yes, okay, so these are some print screens on how students can search for courses. Courses can be searched by course code, course area, or course title. As you can see, if the course code begins with FHS, then you can find all of those courses under, and the same goes with any of the other courses if you know the course code. And there's another area for course title if you don't know the course code. And then adding a course, you would just click on the course that you're looking for. And then if you see that add button, students click on that right there, and then it'll add the course if they're eligible to register for the course. All right, and then to see if the course is registered on that same page, you scroll all the way down, get a message that says it's been added. For example, this green screen, it says it's been added for fall 2020, and the courses are listed below. And then, so now I'll be sharing my screen and I'll show the live version of it. Okay, so this is what the portal looks like. So when students log in, this is the landing page. It's under the student tab. And then to search for courses, it'll be under the course schedule tab. And here's where you can search by course title, course code, and then or course area. If students want to know if something is history, GE, or any of the other departments. Right now, I will show you with our test course how that will look like. So here we see also all the other colleges test course. We are CMC, so ours normally end with the CM. Once the students click on that, it says if they're eligible to register, yes, and there's the add button here. Then we click on the add button, and if you scroll down, then we see that the course is now registered for this student. And that is my simple, brief explanation on how this looks. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Let me stop sharing. Did I stop sharing yet?
Okay,
No.
thank you. And I was just getting back onto the screen here.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for that. Again, I know it's a lot of information, so we have a registration tutorial for how to use the portal. So if you don't feel like you've mastered all the details yet, don't worry. We will also have, I'll mention this again in a moment, but we'll also have a Zoom room open on August 7th for any kind of troubleshooting you need. So we are with you every step of the way. More on that in a moment. I wanted to zoom ahead to the end of August and talk a little bit about what happens in terms of academics during orientation. So what I'm not going to talk about is all of the, like, your WOA trips and all of that fun stuff. I'm really just focusing on what happens on Thursday, August 21st, and then also registration on the 22nd. If you have questions about any other aspect of orientation, definitely log into the new student orientation portal. So on-campus orientation, August 21st, you may have, early that morning, 8 to 9, you may have a place out exam or a placement exam. And I know that a question had come in about the Spanish place out exam on August 22nd. And yes, you can certainly add language classes to your schedule, you know, starting on August 22nd. So I wanted to answer that question. If you aren't sure what you need to be doing in terms of placement or place out exams, please consult the new student orientation portal. There's a packet that has information about foreign language exams. And if you have questions about that, there's contact information there. And so if, for example, there's an exam and now the online course has closed, I would reach out to the contact person and they can give you the support you need and any other answer any questions you might have. So that might be the first thing you're doing August 21st. You might not be doing it because maybe you already did. Maybe you were working with a language that had an online exam and you don't need to do anything for that 8 a.m. Hour and you can sleep in. From 9:15 on, students will be attending sessions covering academic requirements. So some of the slides we're sharing with you now, I hope you like them because you might see some of them again. And we'll also be doing a deep dive on student support resources. And I'll have one little slide about that today, but there's so much more information and just a tremendous amount of academic support and other kinds of supports for students here at CMC. 11:30, you're going to meet with your academic advisor for a group lunch. And I really love this tradition that we have at CMC. You'll be picking up a box lunch and then heading to a classroom. And we're working on all of those room assignments, and that information will be available to you in the new student orientation portal. It's, as you can imagine, it's a lot of work figuring out how to get 340 students and 40 plus faculty into individual classrooms so everybody can have lunch together. So we are just finishing all the little details on that. But you will have a nice lunch session with your academic advisor, and that's an opportunity to get that relationship started and really think about what am I already registered for? What changes might I want to make tomorrow when the portal opens on August 22nd? And then other longer term questions you might be thinking about. So that relationship with your academic advisor is really about you and your goals. Let me move on. After that lunch, you will be heading to an academic information session. And we offer those for all of our different, majors and programs. And so it's kind of, you'll have some tough choices to make. What session do you want to attend? But don't worry, you'll have an opportunity at 2:15 to go to what we call the Majors and Programs Fair, and all of those same departments will be represented there. And I love this event because it's like a glorious buffet of the many academic things we have at CMC. And you'll walk out of there having talked to like 10 or 12 different faculty. And the photos don't quite capture the energy of the event, but it's really amazing. It'll be, just packed with people, really exciting. This is a screenshot of my Spotify playlist, which there's so much talking happening in the room that I'm not sure the playlist is actually audible, but it was really fun to put together. Okay, so I was just covering all of those events on Thursday. If you're thinking, how on earth will we keep track of all of these events? Everything's listed in a handy schedule on the new student orientation portal. So if you aren't already logging into the new student orientation portal all the time, it's going to be your best friend during orientation for sure. Okay, let me say a little bit of something about academics in and out of the classroom here at CMC. And this slide is really like why you're coming here, I think. As I think you already know, you can expect your classroom experience to be super active, engaged, and rigorous. We have small classes here. It's going to be lots of discussion. And I'm so excited about that. So we're looking forward to meeting you and having your energy in our classroom spaces. You're going to be doing a lot of reading and writing all semester long. A lot of our courses are also project-based, so expect a lot of interaction and collaboration, a lot of group work. I was actually just meeting with a librarian to talk about a digital project I'm going to be doing with my students this semester. So a lot of stuff like that happening. And then there's the co-curricular space. A lot of you will be doing research with faculty, or you'll be attending any number of events, workshops, talks through our centers and institutes. And of course, the jewel in our crown, the Athenaeum, where you can attend a speaker event like 4 nights a week if you want to. And the dinner is part of your meal plan, and it's really good. So I heartily recommend it. Let's talk about academic advising. So each incoming student is paired, as I said, with an academic advisor, and you'll be working with that person from anything to like thinking about little questions to the big, existential, what am I doing in this world questions. And that person is also part of a larger network of support that includes my amazing colleagues in the Dean of Students office and all of the folks you see here in the Registrar's office. You're going to meet that person on August 21st during your on-campus orientation at that lunch session that I was talking about. You can see that person's name when you log into the portal, and you'll meet them on August 21st. Okay, the advising does not end there. So I encourage advisors to be reaching out to their advisees throughout the semester, particularly at about the 1 month mark when work starts to kind of ramp up and people might feel like they need a little more support. Students will also be hearing from their advisors in November because we require them to get clearance for registration at that time. It's not something you need to worry about this summer. But in the fall, we want you and your advisor to kind of touch base about what your plans are for the spring. And then you'll also be hearing from your advisor anytime there's an academic advisory. So if you've been missing class, for example, a faculty member might let the support system know by submitting an academic advisory. Hey, I haven't seen this person in class. I hope they're doing okay. Or maybe if you've been missing work. And this is a quick alert, as I said here, to the academic advisor, the registrar's office, dean of students. And it's not a punishment. It's more sort of like, let's get you the support that you need. So I really consider these an opportunity for productive connection and to just get a conversation going. And they can often be really useful touch points, I think. Remember that there's always lots of help available to you. So you'll hear more about these supports when you get to campus, but the Center for Writing and Public Discourse is an incredible resource. You can walk in with a draft of your essay and get some attention on it right away. You can make an online appointment. There's all kinds of ways you can engage with the Center for Writing and Public Discourse. I send all of my students there. It's a great way to get feedback on your writing. There's also the quantitative and computing lab. So if you are taking any courses in the social sciences, if you're working in math or data science, if you're working in integrated sciences, etc., the quantitative and computing lab is going to be part of your life. An incredible resource where you can meet with tutors who've already taken the courses that you are currently in. And those tutors are often working directly with faculty, or they know the faculty that you're working with. So they're a great resource. Success coaches. This is an opportunity to be working with a student who knows the place well, knows the resources well, and can also talk to you about things like study habits and other sorts of, tips and tricks for getting through the semester and achieving the goals that you want to achieve. I really recommend it. There's also peer tutoring. So if you need a little extra support in whatever field you're studying, check that out. And I also wanted to mention our CARE textbook loan program. So you'll when you get your syllabi, each professor will create a syllabus that has all of the details about the course. And you'll likely get a list of any texts you need to acquire for that course. It's also worth checking out the Care Center. They have an amazing library and a lot of books there that you can borrow for the semester. I think I will now turn it over to Deborah, and oopsies, let me get back. Sorry. Hold on. I got too exuberant with my clicker. Here we go. Sorry. Sorry, Deborah, I'm turning it over to you to close this out, and I'm gonna step away from the arrow buttons.
No, that's just fine. Yeah, so thank you. So I know you all are kind of like, wow, how do I remember all of this information? Because it was a lot of information that we shared with you. We don't anticipate that you will remember everything we said. So we have provided a lot of resources that will allow you to get the answers you need. The first resource is the Registrar's New Student Academic Resources page. It has all the information you need. And if any point you're on that page and you have a question or you can't find the answer to a question, you can always reach out to the Registrar's office. We are here. You can stop by in person. If you're not on campus yet, please feel free to call us. If you want to schedule a meeting with us one-on-one, you can schedule a Zoom meeting with any of us. We're here to help you.
And Deborah, is that email address registrar@cmc.edu? Is that it?
That is correct. Yeah, you can reach us there or you can email us individually. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Ellen. Yes. The other thing we wanted to kind of point out is the academic calendar. The academic calendar has a lot of important dates and events that we encourage you to review. In addition, my office sends out reminders for important dates like last day to add, last day to drop, last day to withdraw. So we try to stay in contact with you and remind you of those things that are just not on your radar at that time. In addition, we've got detailed information about the GE requirements. That information is available on the registrar's webpage, or again, you can schedule an appointment with either one of us and we can sit down and go over all of your GE requirements, major requirements, or even just a 4-year degree plan so that we can give you an idea of what it would look like during the 4 years you're here at CMC. We also have available on our website the GE Major Checklist app. That's a very handy tool to allow you to chart your progress as you're on your journey here at CMC. And again, you can schedule a one-on-one meeting with any of us, and we would happily sit down with you and show you what it looks like to complete your GE and your major requirements here at CMC. The bigger thing we are really excited about is registration. So August the 7th, you all will begin registering for your classes. As you've been informed, you will see on your student portal that you've been pre-placed into courses. Now, on August the 7th, the 2 courses that you're pre-placed in, we have set those to a registration lock. So you won't be able to drop any of those courses, but don't get scared. You'll be able to make adjustments to your schedule a little bit later. But if you need help registering on August the 7th, please join us. Click on that Zoom link. We will be here for you. If you're local and you're here in Claremont, you can also stop by the office and we're here to help you process your registrations. And please don't forget to look at the new student orientation portal for information about placement exams, information sheets on departments and majors, and orientation details. So it was a lot of information, but rest assured that we are here to help you. And we love answering questions. We are available. Our office is open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. We're only closed from 12, between 12 and 1 for lunch. But outside of that, we're definitely here. And you can always schedule an appointment with any of us, or you can just call the office. We love to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Deborah. And I see that there's a lot of activity in the Q&A. I wasn't able to look at that while I was sharing my screen, but it looks like a lot of the answers are flying. I wanted to address a kind of broader question that had come in over email about, what if you've changed your major from the one you declared during the admissions process? Can you register for classes in the new major? That's a great question. So when you applied to CMC like a year ago, or maybe it wasn't that long, but when you applied to CMC a long time ago, you probably expressed an interest in a particular field. And maybe your ideas have changed since then, and that is totally okay. So if, there's no, like, declaring a particular major right now does not set in stone your pathway here. So I want to put that out there. So maybe you came in saying, like, I'm going to be a history major. Actually, no, I want to do something else. It's okay to start thinking about that something else. And if you have questions about how to chart your path in that new major you've started thinking about, I would say your first stop should be those info sheets on the new student orientation portal. There's a lot of good basic information there, including here's what you ought to think about taking in your first year. So I would say that's first stop. If you want to do if you recently decided to do like integrated sciences or the 3-2 program, and maybe especially the 3-2 program, since you're only at CMC for 3 years, I would say reach out to somebody, and we can make sure you're connected with the folks at the Kravis Department for Integrated Sciences. But that's really the only situation where I would say that. Everything else, you know, you've got time. You'll be working on GEs in your first year. You'll have a lot of time to be meeting with your advisor in the weeks and months to come about different decisions that you have in front of you. There was a question that also came in about the BA/MA program. There's a lot of information on the CMC website about that program. It's something that you apply for, I think, in your second year, so you have a little more time to be thinking about it. But I would refer you to the program coordinator, who is Eric Hewson, and we can follow up with you about that by email, or always feel free to send an email to registrar@CMC. Lila and Maritza, I know, and Deborah, you've all been monitoring the chat. Any big questions coming up or repeat questions that you think we should address in the room that folks would be interested to hear about?
Yeah, the one question that I've seen come up is, will the slides and the recording to this webinar be made available to the attendees?
We are recording it. I know that. So a recording will be available, and I would say yes, we're happy to share all of the links we've provided here, so you have access to that. And we can share the slides, but there's even more information on the website, so we'll make sure you have access to all of this stuff. Thanks for that great question. Just looking at the chat again. Oh, I see a couple questions coming in about accommodations and accessibility. I would say really great idea to get connected with accessibility resources at CMC. And let me look up that email, or maybe one of my colleagues can, and we can drop that in the chat. But it's really good to get connected with my colleague Ari Martinez, who heads our accessibility program. And she can work directly with you to help you navigate your accommodations. And then once you're through that process, then you can connect directly with your faculty about that, and there'll be all kinds of supports for you as you navigate whatever your accommodations might be. I see a question coming in about perms. So after pre-registration on August 7th and 8th, starting the 9th, go ahead and send a perm if it's required for the course. And so you'll look on the portal, and if it says, permission required, perm stands for permission. So if permission is required by the instructor, then you can fill out the perm. If it doesn't, you don't need to. If you have questions about that, feel free to get in touch with the registrar's office. They can help you sort of look at the particular course you're interested in and help you make that decision about whether or not the perm is needed. And in terms of what a perm should say, I would say less is more. It's a message that's going to go directly to the professor. From the professor's standpoint, I always find it helpful when someone says, I'm interested in the course. It's going to support my major in this way, whatever, a couple of details, and leave it there. You don't need to tell your whole life story. Let me scroll through one more time. I see a lot of really specific questions, but what I'm looking for now is kind of broader ones that are more applicable to the whole room. Oh, somebody asked if students can do a minor at another Claremont college instead of a sequence at CMC. And the answer is no. Because we don't, and like the reverse is true, like somebody at Pomona can't do a CMC sequence. So that's just kind of that's unfortunate. But the ethos behind that is that at CMC, we developed something called a dual major, which is sort of like almost like a minor, but it allows you to get your footing in another field of study, but to do it in a way that you really get a solid grounding, more than a minor, which might just be a couple of classes, right? So the dual is an opportunity for you to really dig in a little bit more. Lila, Maritza, Deborah, anything you think we should address in the room right now? Other repeat questions you're seeing coming up?
Lots of questions about the foreign language courses at the other colleges. So what I've seen come through in terms of the question is, can you satisfy the CMC language requirement with the language at another college? And the answer to that is yes. So if you're interested in taking Spanish at Scripps or Pitzer, it will also satisfy the CMC language requirement. The language program here within the Claremont College is intercollegiate, so the courses that you take at the other colleges will satisfy our requirement.
I'm also seeing a couple of questions in particular about Spanish, and probably a lot of our students take Spanish or place out of Spanish. So the place out exam on August 22nd, if you have questions about that, I would reach out to Norman Valencia or Nicole Altamirano. Their names are both listed in the packet about placement exams, which is on the new student orientation portal. If you have questions about, we don't know like where you are in terms of your study of the language. And so the folks in the department are the best ones placed to give you a good answer to that. So I would reach out to them as soon as possible with your questions about what you should be doing and what you can register for.
And then can I go over one particular question I've seen a lot? There's questions if courses from within the consortium will count towards general education requirements. So most of the courses have to be taken at CMC. There is the exception with the language that can be taken within the consortium or the math. But for RGE, the rest of them, they have to be taken at CMC, and there's more information in the catalog as well. Or feel free to reach out to Registrar at cmc.edu if you have a very specific question about a specific GE.
And one thing that's really helpful about the portal when you're searching for courses, if you search by course area, you can select, for example, CMC History GE, and it will show you all of the courses that fit that GE. So we try to make it easy for you to find the courses that satisfy the GE. The reason why we want you to take the GE courses at CMC is because we consider them kind of the bedrock of your degree. And we want to introduce you to the wide range of disciplines and faculty we have here at the college. So there are very rare exceptions to that, and you would need to work with a department chair to discuss that. But in the vast majority of cases, you are taking your GEs here at CMC.
And another question that I see that keeps coming up is, how many courses should you add on August the 7th? So remember, you all are already in either 2 or 3 courses. If you're in 3 courses right now on your portal, then you should add 1 additional course. The goal is to get you all to 4 credits by the first day of classes. The portal will not allow you to add 5 courses. We consider that an overload, and our incoming students are not allowed to overload in their first semester. So as you start navigating the portal on August the 7th and thinking about courses to add, be prepared to pick 2 courses to add to your schedule, or 1 if you already have 3 credits. Have a few backups because some of the courses may be full. And if there's a course that you are interested in taking, if it appears to be full right now, you all should be allowed to submit perms right now for any course that you're not eligible to take. So for example, I've seen about 3 questions in the Q&A where students are saying that the courses are currently restricted to Pomona only or Pitzer only. If you see a course that has a restriction like that, then you should be allowed to submit a perm as a CMC student. So there should be a perm button available to you on the portal, and you can feel free to submit a perm today. And if you encounter any issues with that, give us a call and we can walk you through that process.
A question came in about study abroad. And the question was, where do students usually study? And the answer is everywhere. They go all over the globe. So I encourage you to check out the Center for Global Education. And that can give you an overview of some of the options, but it really seems kind of like the sky's the limit there. I would encourage you sooner rather than later to, get to know Kristen Mallory in that office. She can help you figure out what might make the most sense for you. I mean, maybe you already know, I've always dreamed of going to, such and such place. But if you're thinking, well, I'm a psych major and, what would be a good place to go? Where might I be able to pick up 1 or 2 psych courses while I'm there? Kristen Mallory in global education is really the person to talk to. That's a great question. It's so exciting when I hear about my students and all the different places they're going. I mean, my own advisees over the years have just gone all over the world. It's really incredible. Okay, I'm just looking at this list one more time. So I see a question that came in, and maybe others might have this, that you may be in the position that you added your preference for econ after July pre-placement, and that's totally fine. So you may not currently be placed in Econ 50, and if that's the case, I definitely encourage you to add that on August 7th. And we've got spaces available, so that's a really good idea to do that. Somebody was asking about they took AP Calc and might be doing engineering. Which calc level should I take? I would refer you to the math placement flowchart. That can give you a lot of useful information about making that choice. And then if you still aren't sure, reach out to the registrar's office and we can help you answer that question. Okay, a question about a course that conflicts with a practice time. So if you know you are changing a course you already have, changing it on August 22nd, because it conflicts with a class practice time, should you select an extra course on August 7th since you can't change your schedule to August 22nd? That's a really good strategy question. So you might it might be something good to talk with the registrar's office about, because I think if you're already in an FWS, it's not clear to me that you're going to be able to register for a second one at the same time. So I don't know which course you're particularly talking about. So you might want to strategize with someone in the registrar's office. But it's that kind of strategic thinking is useful. You're going to have an opportunity next week to register for an additional 1 or 2 courses, and then another shot on August 22nd. So you can kind of look at what's available and see, how you want to use your registration time. But again, reaching out to registrar's office to strategize with a friend, I think is a good idea. Okay, I think we're slowly making our way through. Somebody asked if there are fees associated with tutoring, and no. There are not fees associated with tutoring. We have an incredible amount of free walk-in support services available to you at all times at CMC. So if you're making an appointment for peer tutoring, if you're making an appointment at the quantitative computing lab or the Center for Writing, these are sources that they're there for you all of the time, and they are just part of your education here at CMC. Okay. I've seen a couple of questions about honors classes. And the one I'm seeing here in the chat now is about, are they worth it? Is it really hard? I think there's not a wrong way to do it. I think an honors class can be kind of fun and engaging. And what makes it a little bit different, like if you let me use the example of like Gov 20, which is a course a lot of you will probably take either this semester or next semester. Gov 20 honors is what's different about that is it's likely to be more folks who are thinking, I probably want to do some kind of Gov major. I suspect that the Gov 20 honors class is going to be more of those students. So it's not all that different from the other Gov 20s, but there might be a little more intensity just because everybody in the room, like the folks in the room are maybe more likely to want to pursue that area of interest. So I think if it's something you're interested in, why not check it out? It's worth giving it a shot. That's my take. Another question kind of related to that I sometimes get is, should I do FHS or FWS first? Which one's the right one to do first? And there isn't a right one to do first. They're both reading and writing intensive. What's really special about both of them is it's only first-year students, and it's a really special experience because you get this close attention on your writing, and you're with your particular cohort. And I really love that about those courses. So either one you land in this fall, don't worry, you're going to be getting some really good attention on your writing. You're going to be doing a lot of critical reading and thinking. They're both courses designed to prepare you well for other kinds of courses you're going to be taking at CMC. Okay, it looks like we're getting close. Deborah, did you want to answer one more question?
I do. I saw that someone said that they're traveling on August the 7th, so they're not going to be able to process their registration. We offer proxy registration. There's a form available on our website. And you can submit that form, and we will make every attempt to get you in the courses that you select. And I can actually drop, let's see. I'll drop the link to our proxy registration form in the chat. So if you submit that form, one of us will register you in your classes at your registration time if you are unavailable on August the 7th. And the other part of that question was, how long do you have to register? It's a 24-hour period for you.
Well, thank you all so much for taking the time. I know that we bombarded you with a lot of information. I know you may have more questions after this webinar. So I encourage you to reach out, registrar@cmc.edu. We will be following up with access to links and slides and all of that. Please do not hesitate to reach out with any questions you have. We are here to support you. We are excited about registration next week. We're really excited too about on-campus orientation. So any way we can help make the process easier for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you to all my colleagues in the registrar's office. We can't wait to see you, and we'll find us on email before then. All right, bye everybody.